The National Disaster Awareness Week marks the beginning of the 2017-2018 cyclone season, spanning from November to April every year. This season is the period where we are likely to encounter tropical cyclones, tropical depressions, and severe floodings. This year, the official launch of the National Disaster Week coincides with the United Nations International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, a day calling for every individual, community, and government to come together in making their nations more disaster resilient. Disaster preparedness and building resilience is truly a communal effort. Being prepared is the best way to ensure the safety of our families and protection of properties and assets. Before disaster strikes, it is vitally important for every Fijian to already have a plan in place, know what to do, where to go, and who to talk to when in need of assistance during these times. Fiji's National Disaster Awareness Week for 2017 focuses on tsunami hazard and stresses the need for all Fijians to be tsunami ready. Tsunamis have the greatest potential to have a devastating impact on a large segment of Fiji's population. The majority of Fiji's villages, settlements, communities, towns, and cities are located within the tsunami danger zone, making us particularly susceptible to the damages that can come from a sudden ocean surge. Because tsunamis can hit with very little or no warning, adequate preparedness is of the utmost importance. Proper planning for a tsunami will save lives of your loved ones and neighbors. Fiji is considered as one of the world's most vulnerable countries to natural disasters. The 2016 World Risk Report has placed Fiji as the 16th most vulnerable country in the world to natural disasters. And our ranking is largely based on the fact that the rate of natural disasters occurring on our islands is increasing. For the last 6 years, from 2010 to 2016, Fiji has recorded 3 tropical cyclones and 2 severe floodings. This indicates that on an average, we are encountering a disaster on a nearly annual basis. It is not just the rate of extreme weather that is increasing. The intensity of the storms is also unlike anything we have seen before. In 2016, Fiji encountered the most powerful cyclone to ever strike land in the southern hemisphere. Tropical Cyclone Winston caused widespread damage and destruction, impacting around 62% of Fiji's total population. The estimated total cost of that disaster was nearly $2 billion. Fijians should expect more. Frequent and intense disaster events like Winston and should be prepared for the future events of equal or even greater magnitude. Recent events like Hurricane Harvey in the United States of America and Hurricane Maria in the Caribbean indicate that countries like Fiji need to be continuously prepared for disaster to hit, and that policies and plans are in place to make our country as resilient as possible for when the next megastorm inevitably hits our shores. We all have a role to play in improving our nation's state of preparedness and improving our level of resilience. I urge each and every person present here this morning to become involved in disaster preparedness. It is not a personal issue. Being prepared is everybody's business. Government, the private sector, civil society, faith-based organizations, and our communities must work hand in hand to ensure that adequate preparation is undertaken. To support the drive towards building resilience, Fiji is working on the development of a national disaster risk reduction policy. This policy is part of our commitment to achieving the global agreement contained under the Sendai Framework, the Paris Agreement, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and the Framework for Resilient Development in the Pacific. Building resilience is a priority for government. With increased frequency of natural disasters, such as cyclones, the cost of these events will continue to increase. Cyclone Winston's recovery and reconstruction efforts in Fiji have adopted the principles of building back better to ensure durability against the next natural disaster. While it may be costly and time-consuming, it is a necessary investment in a safer and more resilient future. National Disaster Awareness Week is about creating awareness on our roles and responsibilities as Fijians, and will be recognized through the 4 divisions next week. It will provide an opportunity to reflect on the lessons learned from past disasters, improve awareness and information dissemination, and identify areas of collaboration for future events. In addition to opening the National Disaster Awareness Week, I also have the honor of launching the Fiji National Humanitarian Policy for Disaster Risk Management and the Fiji Tsunami Response Plan. These are important policy documents for government because they support coordinating responses to future disaster events. The Fiji National Humanitarian Policy supports government's endeavor to fulfill its international obligation on disaster risk reduction. The policy institutionalizes humanitarian practices and the Fiji cluster system for humanitarian coordination. The Fiji Tsunami Response Plan is also a vital document for Fiji. The UN International Day for Disaster Reduction focuses on Target B of the Sendai Framework, where the goal is to reduce the number of affected people by disasters by 2030. Tsunamis have the potential to derail countries from achieving this goal, but by installing early warning systems, improving awareness of these systems, and having a robust response plan in place, we can keep Fiji in track. The Tsunami Response Plan provides guidance for key agencies and evacuation plans for communities and facilities located within tsunami danger zones in coastal areas and maritime islands. To operationalize this plan, Cabinet has endorsed the conduct of a national tsunami drill to create awareness and test government response and evacuation plans within the greater Suva city area. This is an important national exercise, and I urge all Fijians to be involved to ensure that Fiji is ready and capable of responding to a tsunami threat. These documents provide the blueprint for coordination that will improve our response to disaster. They will be disseminated widely throughout Fiji to ensure that all Fijians fully understand their duties and responsibilities when responding to disasters. Disasters are unpredictable. They are indiscriminate of where and who they hit, when they hit, and how hard they will hit us. Therefore, there's a need to continuously improve our process to ensure that we all know what to do when the worst comes. I hope that we will continue to work together to improve Fiji's state of preparedness and responsiveness to disasters, and most importantly, in building the resilience of Fiji's future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, before the next natural disaster hits Fiji, be safe, be prepared, and be involved. Your loved ones depend on it. Fiji depends on it. It gives me great pleasure to officially launch the National Disaster Awareness Week. God bless Fiji, and God bless us all. And thank you.